biggest names in the game.
Welcome to Turf Moor for this Emirates FA Cup fifth round tie between a Burnley side sitting proudly on the top of the Championship and Fleetwood Town, mid-table in the third tier, but having a fun time in this year's FA Cup. And the Clarets' fine form has been epitomised in this year's competition. Premier League Bournemouth were well beaten 4-2 before they overcame Ipswich 2-1 after a replay. They haven't been beyond this stage since 2003. But crowning a Premier League return with a cup run is not beyond Vincent Kompany's exciting side. The Cod Army are in uncharted waters. The replay win against Sheffield Wednesday cemented their first appearance at this stage. They have previous against Championship opposition as well. Queen's Park Rangers were beaten 2-1 in round 3. And it's another big night in the FA Cup for Vincent Kompany and Bournemouth and Burnley riding high at the top of the Championship. The former Republic of Ireland international Gary Breen is alongside me, and they can really enjoy the Cup considering how well they've done in the league.
Absolutely, I think they can really go for it, and if you think that there's a potential quarter-final draw against their rivals, Blackburn are waiting for them, but the priority is certainly the league, but this is a great distraction.
And Anas Sarari, in many ways, has been one of their jewels in the crown this season.
He really has, but Vincent Kompany's been quite critical of him and says that now in the last couple of weeks he's back to his best. Neil Warnock faced him on Saturday and said he's one of the best players he's seen this season, not just in the Championship, but in the whole country.
And a big opportunity this evening for Michael Obafemi, his full debut.
Massive opportunity. Got that big equaliser late on in the league against Watford, but this is an opportunity to start games and really put a marker down. It's difficult to get to this Burnley team, they've been that strong, but every opportunity you've got, you have to take it.
And Obafemi will be alongside Lyle Foster, the South African international who made his debut in the previous round.
Yeah, one of the January signings that strengthened this squad, and he's another player be looking to impress. You have to remember the likes of Jay Rodriguez is ahead of them, so any opportunities to play now and get amongst the goals, I'm sure they'll be chomping at the bit.
And Burnley currently a long way clear at the top of the Championship. They have won the FA Cup back in 1914 when they beat Liverpool in the final. They went out at the first time of asking in the third round last season, but at the moment they are the form team in the United Kingdom, 14 games unbeaten. And Scott Brown helped Celtic to dominate the Scottish Cup during his time as a player. Now his first job in frontline management. Fleetwood are currently in mid-table in League One, but they will view this as a real opportunity to maybe catch the eye, playing against local rivals from a higher division. And they are a team who, on their day, have produced their best form in the FA Cup so far this season. And they are led at the heart of their defence by Aristote Enciala, a commanding central defender.
Yeah, the experience will be needed in what is a relatively young guys, Holgate and Earl alongside them, and they come into this game in good form defensively, 4 consecutive clean sheets, but I think that quality will be severely tested this evening.
And Sean Rooney has that priceless commodity at this level, goals from midfield.
Exactly, so you'll need him for a threat, and obviously the manager knows him from his time in Scotland, so I think a big role for him this evening.
And Lewis Warrington could be their creative hub on loan from Everton.
Yes, and Scott Brown talked about that ability to hold on to the ball and relieve a little bit of the pressure. He's certainly one of those players who gives you that ability.
Fleetwood currently mid-table in League One, the third tier of English football. This is their best ever run in the FA Cup. They were knocked out in round 1 by Burton Albion last season, but they're currently in decent form, 5 wins in their previous 6 games. And the weather at Turf Moor is typical FA Cup fare at this stage of the season. Heavy rain and strong winds. And the crowd here gathering once again to see if Burnley can maintain what's been an extraordinary season in terms of results. But Fleetwood not lacking support here. Just under 2,000 have made the journey from the West Lancashire coast to the heart of East Lancashire. And if you are a fan of a small club like Fleetwood, Gary Breen, this is what the FA Cup is all about.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's an opportunity to go up against a Burnley team who could arguably be considered one of the best championship teams we've ever seen, such as their consistency. So it's a real challenge for them, but what an opportunity for Fleetwood that they have thoroughly deserved.
And if you're a Burnley supporter, of course you want promotion. That's the main priority this season. But now they're in a position to do some real damage in the FA Cup.
They really are, and I think you can kind of put the league form to the side and really concentrate on that, but have a real go at this FA Cup now. The draw is opening up.
And it's a big night at Turf Moor. Two Lancashire rivals meeting in the FA Cup 5th round. And Turf Moor is the scene for this Emirates FA Cup 5th round tie between Burnley, top of the Championship, and Fleetwood Town, mid-table in League One. The two managers have both helped to dominate domestic cup competitions earlier in their career. Vincent Kompany twice lifted the trophy as captain of Manchester City, and Scott Brown had the armband for Celtic when they lifted the Scottish Cup on 6 different occasions. And they'll have been hoping to translate that sort of experience onto the training ground in the last week or so in the build-up to this game. Burnley have enjoyed some astonishing form in the Championship. They are currently 12 points clear, looking set for an instant return to the Premier League. But Fleetwood are here to enjoy their evening, and they've already knocked out Championship opposition in the shape of Queen's Park Rangers this season in the 3rd round, and a big club, Sheffield Wednesday, in round 4. Alongside me is the former Republic of Ireland international Gary Breen. And Burnley have swept all aside in the Championship, so how can Fleetwood win this game?
Well, it's going to be a massive challenge, there's no doubt. Scott Brown has talked about having to enjoy the moment, but if you think about his competitive nature, it's all well and good saying that at the beginning. He'll expect his team to be competitive and certainly not just lay down and allow Burnley to steamroller them. The problem is, on this slick surface, Burnley are so good at penning you back in and keeping you locked in, it's difficult to get out. So the big thing will be that when they do clear their lines, they're able to get up the pitch, because it's going to be a relentless amount of pressure they will face.
And a trip to Turf Moor for the first ever meeting between these two clubs provides very different surroundings to the tight, intimate Highbury Stadium, Fleetwood's home ground. Turf Moor, of course, you can really smell the history whenever you make a visit here, and the home supporters have seen their side win on so many occasions. 20 matches unbeaten in all competitions this season here. And Craig Bellamy, part of Vincent Kompany's coaching team, a very feisty former Welsh international during his playing days. If he and Scott Brown get it together, it could be quite something off the field.
I'm sure they must have come across each other at Celtic when Craig went up there on loan, so all friendships go out the window, though, as you quite rightly say, when there's a ball put between them both.
And Scott Brown now cuts a lot calmer figure than he did for much of his time in charge of the team on the field at Celtic. Gone is the shaven head and the snarl, and he's trying to encourage a team to play a much more attractive brand of football, maybe in his softer image.
You say softer image, he looks like he's getting younger by the passing weeks. They don't look like the pressures of management.
You sound jealous.
Exactly, I am absolutely that. But he doesn't look like the pressures of management are really taking its toll on him. Maybe that's because he's so early into his reign, but he's been impressive in terms of what he's done recently, especially. They look like they're coming to this game in particularly good form, but this is a huge challenge.
And here come the two teams. They share the same county, but they have very different outlooks currently. But united here in the 5th round of the FA Cup, and there is a quarter-final place on offer here tonight. And all of a sudden, the Wembley Arch comes quickly into focus. Burnley have been unbeatable here so far this season in the Championship, but Fleetwood are enjoying their best form of the season, and they will believe it is a very good time to play the cream of the EFL currently, a team who will surely be playing once again in the Premier League next season. And 7 changes for Burnley from their 4-0 win over Huddersfield. Jordan Beyer, Josh Cullen, Josh Brownhill and Anna Sarari are all retained. Among those also selected, Michael Obafemi makes his full debut following his move from Swansea. He's supported by the South African international Lyle Foster, while Baghdad-born Amin Al-Dakil gets another start at the heart of their defence. Carlos Gomez, who scored the winner against Sheffield Wednesday, is among the Fleetwood players starting on the bench. With Jayden Stockley cup-tied, Kean Hayes and Scott Robertson will play up front. Josh Earl also returns as part of the back three, and Danny Andrew will play wide on the left-hand side. And Dean Whitestone is our referee here this evening. In his previous FA Cup tie, Wrexham and Sheffield United drew 3-3 in a spectacular match at the racecourse ground in the previous round, and we hope for similar entertainment here tonight. And once again, Vincent Kompany has chosen to rotate his squad in the FA Cup. There were numerous changes for both of the ties against Ipswich in the previous round, which Burnley eventually won very late on following a replay. Fleetwood also had to go to an extra game, and they enjoyed an eye-catching victory against Sheffield Wednesday. And before kick-off, there will be a minute's applause here at Turf Moor to remember the legendary FA Cup commentator John Motson, who passed away at the age of 77 on Friday.
Please join us as we remember John Watson with a minute's applause.
John Motson always loved a good FA Cup tie, and with a winner guaranteed here tonight, we are assured of drama in some shape or form, and it's Burnley who will get the game underway. The team at the top of the Championship meet mid-table opposition from a lower league here at Turf Moor tonight. Fleetwood have made the journey from the West Lancashire coast to the Pennine foothills, and they will be optimistic they can cause another upset in this season's Emirates FA Cup. A place in the quarter-finals awaiting one of these teams. Fleetwood in sky blue. Enciala goes back to Jay Lynch, their goalkeeper. Here is Vitinho for Burnley in their famous claret and brew. Gary Breen is alongside me here this evening, and it's very important for Fleetwood that they aren't overawed by Burnley right from the start.
No, absolutely. I think Scott Brand has said and made reference to it in the build-up to this game that Burnley start games with such a high tempo, pin you back in. So that message will be given to his team the setup initially is 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, 1 up front, Hayes, and the worry is that he gets isolated. We're just looking at McAdam trying to get in support of him at the moment, but it's so important how well they start, just to give him that bit of confidence.
Here is Cullen. And now Vitinha once again. First involvement for Obafemi, making his full debut for Burnley. Has scored twice from the bench in recent weeks in the Championship, following his move at the end of the transfer window from Swansea City. Now Al-Dakhil, one of a number of players signed from Belgian club football during this season. Vincent Kompany using his contacts well. Taylor. Twine makes the run down the left, but it's back towards Taylor again. And all the noise coming from the Fleetwood supporters away to our right at the start of this game. The average crowds of just over 3,000 in League One. Nearly 2,000 here tonight, as Zerari has been fouled by Rooney, and it will be the first free kick of the game for Burnley.
How good for those Fleetwood players to come out and see their away fans. And they're trying to do everything they can in his opening period just to G their team on.
This is the first ever meeting between these two clubs. Burnley formed in 1882, first played in the FA Cup in 1885. And Fleetwood Town, in their current form, were only formed in 1997 in the 10th tier of English football. A free kick with plenty of whip, and it's guided behind that it will be a goal kick in the end.
We've seen a lot of that this season from Twine of Burnley, the quality that he has on those dead ball situations. Both centre-halves going up to attack the ball. He puts it right on the button, but just doesn't get the contact he wants at that near post.
Jay Lynch, who played in both of the ties against Sheffield Wednesday in the previous round, just slips as he clears. It will be a tricky playing surface here tonight. There's been plenty of rain throughout the day. Now Vitinha. Bayer. Taylor will look to get forward down the left to support Anna Serrari. Al-Dakhil. Cut out well by Robertson. Now McAdam. Vitinha recovers well, and the petulant shove from McAdam leads to a Burnley free kick.
But even on the turnover there, Fleetwood, we saw him in good defensive structure. They win the ball back. 4 players getting advanced areas to try and support the attack, so they're not going to just sit in there. They are going to try and have a foothold in the offensive part of the pitch.
Well, there was no replay to hold on for tonight. Now Vitinha. We must have a winner with extra time and penalties if necessary. Taylor. Now Twine. Serrari. Taylor again, but he invited the challenge from Warrington, who wins it back, and then the free kick is given for the challenge by Bayer. And Scott Brown, in his first season in charge of Fleetwood Town, won the Scottish Cup on 6 occasions with Celtic, and many of those he was the captain. Up against Vincent Kompany here tonight, who was twice the player to lift the trophy for Manchester City in the FA Cup. First real touch for Bailey Peacock-Farrell. Warrington unable to gather, but it's quickly returned by Holgate. Now Al-Dakhil again. Born in Baghdad, but Belgian under-21 international, one of the January signings.
Noticeable just how disciplined both Hayes and McAdam are in terms of getting around Josh Cullen, just stopping the ball being played through him.
If Cullen and Brownhill get on the ball, they can be a very effective pivot for Burnley at the heart of their midfield. We've spoken a good deal about the more extravagant talent this season, like Anna Serrari, but Burnley are built on a very firm base, as they always have been, and it's underpinned by hard work, Gary, isn't it? Because to play the way they play in the Championship, twice a week, every week, you need to have the fitness, you need to have discipline.
That's a physical challenge, no doubt, the Championship. It's a prerequisite of playing for a Vincent Kompany team, and Craig Bellamy assisting him, is that they talk about performing every day in training, not just looking to do it on match day, that there has to be a consistency about how they go about their business, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the quality is high. We expect the players who come in and don't get the opportunities that they do, or certainly don't get the opportunities that they would like to get all the time. It's up to them to make it count now when they do come into the starting 11.
Coutinho. Scott Brown was saying before this game that he believes that Vincent Kompany already has the aura similar to Pep Guardiola. Of course, he was somebody who learned from right at the end of his career. Obafemi just held off by Earl, but Enciala will have to deal with this. The back pass causing problems for Lynch, and the goalkeeper recovers just in time. Well, if he could have placed that back pass anywhere, he wouldn't have put it there.
Was keep the goalkeeper honest in terms of having to sprint across his line there, and I'm sure he'd have been worried that with this slick surface the ball might have gone a bit quicker than it did, but he showed good pace to clear the danger. Enciala's probably thinking, I'll put it on that side of the goal just to get him away from the players who are closing him down. That was a nerve-wracking moment.
Well, he scored his first FA Cup goal for 13 years in the third round against Queen's Park Rangers. He almost came up with one he won't be remembering there. Serrari laid off to Obafemi. Now Coutinho. Serrari with the cross. Once again, Fleetwood are able to clear. McAdam. He could have a very lonely night. He's lost out to Brownhill, and Burnley very quickly surround the ball. Almost that chaos theory when they lose possession, to work hard in packs to try and win it back. Bayer goes all the way back to Bailey Peacock-Farrell, who is deputising for Harry Murrich in the FA Cup tonight.
So good at keeping that pressure on, Burnley, in terms of how hard you've got to work defensively to make sure your distances are right. When you do force a turnover, more often than not you're fatigued, you're breathing heavy, even at this early stage, and it's difficult then to make a pass, as you quite rightly said, because they go hunting that ball back straight away, Burnley.
And you can clearly see the 5-3-2 formation for Fleetwood. And they are very, very deep at this stage of the game. Brownhill. But the problem could be, if they do win the ball back, there is no outball for them, but they will get the ball back here because the ball was beyond Brownhill. But Enciala would have had his heart fluttering there.
Well, he's looked at no stage has he looked at where his goalkeeper is. You'll see it now, the ball breaks to him. Doesn't really look, he just assumes he's there and then realises that the goalkeeper's given the option on the left-hand side of the goal. And that's to scamper across.
Lynch did well to recover. Cullen. Now Coutinho, the Brazilian-born player in this Burnley team this season. Currently 12 points clear at the top of the Championship. 19 points clear in the playoffs with only 12 games to play. Serrari. Cullen. Now Brownhill. Coutinho holding the width on the right. And towards Foster. Obafemi was almost played in by Cullen, but again Fleetwood defending diligently.
That's excellent defending by Andrew. Left wing back, he narrows up to his centre half just to close that gap. Normally Obafemi gets played in down the side of centre half, so he's got the physical strength to hold off the defender, but not Andrew. Well done.
Scott Brown was talking about how organised his team would have to be before kick-off, and they have been so far. Lynch now going long. The flick on will interest McAndrew, and you can see the possession stats in the opening 10 minutes, and just see how much of a one-way traffic it has been, but it's all 0-0.
I don't think Fleetwood will be embarrassed by those stats. They will have known they'll have long periods without the ball. It's just how they cope with that amount of pressure that's been placed on them.
Musiala almost placing Earl under pressure, but now the long ball forward will interest McAdam. Dakil comes back to make the challenge. McAdam does well to keep it in play. Dakil, though, gets goal side of him, but he's lost out. Here is Robertson. The cross is cleared, but Fleetwood with an opportunity here to get players inside the area. Andrew. Now Warrington. McAdam was a simple ball on the overlap, but in the end they go in field and it breaks down.
That didn't come to fruition as such, but that's a good moment for Fleetwood, just feeling good about themselves in terms of playing in Burnley's half.
We'll give the defenders a slight breather because they've been switched on for the entirety of the opening 12 minutes so far. Robertson, signed from Scott Brown's former club Celtic in January. Now Brownhill. Towards Lyle Foster, but he sends Brownhill back towards the halfway line. Lyle Foster made his Burnley debut in the 4th round tie at Ipswich. Taylor. Now Twine. Brownhill plays the 1-2 with Obafemi. Coutinho. Fleetwood have packed the penalty area once again. Coutinho makes it even more congested. In the end it breaks down. He doesn't find Taylor. Warrington will clear. Here is McAdam, and he's got support on his outside, and it's Rooney. Rooney eventually goes down, but Dean Whitestone waves away in the appeal.
It's a brilliant break by Fleetwood again. We talked about how they'd be able to influence the game in the rare occasions they can break forward, but they're doing it really well. And that through ball was just delayed by Bayer getting back and just taking the sting out of the pass, which looked like the deep run from midfield was going to get him in on goal. And a really good start by Fleetwood.
Here is Taylor. Now Cullen. Zerari. There'll be double coverage on him at every opportunity from Fleetwood to try and cope with the Moroccan international who featured for his country at the World Cup. Now Zerari once again looks for the free kick, and Rooney not too impressed with the tumble, and he doesn't get one.
Referee's in a good position. You can see it all developing. He thinks that he's caught his ankles as he's trying to drive inside him. Referee's having none of it. You can see the width is coming from that left-hand side. Obafemi on the right-hand side as a centre-forward by trade is narrowing up. That width for Burnley is coming from right back. So they have got many avenues to attack Fleetwood with, but up to this point, that back five and that midfield three working so hard just to keep Burnley at arm's length.
Headed forward by Warrington. And McAdam looking for Robertson. And it's back to Peacock Farrell. Keane Hayes, wearing number 21, has barely touched the ball so far. Scott Twine, a player who has had to bide his time due to injuries. He was Vincent Kompany's first signing from MK Dons in League One. Now Coutinho. And he goes on the outside, but Andrew does well to make the challenge. Recovers his footing. And he's got support from Vela. And Fleetwood have negotiated the opening 15 minutes, and the only opportunity was provided by the Fleetwood central defender.
Brilliant fullback play by Andrew. Squares up, knows that he's going to look on the outside, gets his distances, his timing of the tackle is absolutely perfect. Really positive start by him. He narrowed up early on in the face just to stop Obafemi getting in. Another example of good defending there.
Now Charlie Taylor. Burnley will know if they have to be patient, they have the experience to do that. A number of teams have tried to suffocate the play around their own penalty area here this season, and Burnley usually find a way. Now Vela. Adam beaten to it by Al-Dakhil. Now Peacock Farrell. Cullen. Peacock Farrell will eventually clear. Oh, and there could be a problem here. And Foster has done well to rob Holgate. And Lyle Foster is in, but he clips it straight into the arms of Lynch. And that's a let-off for Fleetwood.
Goalkeeper comes out, makes himself big, but you have to say the finish, it's not very convincing. He's running away after the mistake that's been made. So comfortable, little or no danger. Just gets caught on the ball. Foster breaks. You're thinking Enciala's going to get back, but he doesn't manage to close the space. And the little dink, goalkeeper reads it so easy.
Well, Lyle Foster had a good deal of time to think about that, and maybe if you're a striker looking for your first goal, that's the worst time, too much time.
But he's driving forward, you're thinking, a good connection now. He's looking up at the goalkeeper, he's assessed it a couple of times. He knows the defender's not going to get back, and he's got his body between the ball and the recovering defender. Now he's just looking for a clean strike on goal.
Enciala. Now Warrington, who's come very deep. Fleetwood managed to play their way out partially. Here is Vela, and eventually he's penalised for the challenge on Cullen. And now Twine, Zerari, and it's recovered well by Rooney. And Fleetwood here, not overawed so far, but Zerari now has it back. And the shot fired in, it's deflected off Enciala. Burnley will have a throw in, and Enciala has been a central character so far.
Sort of regain their composure a little bit, Fleetwood. It was on their best attacking phase, one ball up. A mistake by the defender, and suddenly Burnley are putting real pressure on them. You have to say, an opening 20-minute period, this has been a very good away performance by Fleetwood in terms of just how well Burnley usually start games.
Taylor. Al-Dakhil. Spread by Cullen. Former Anderlecht player, followed his manager to Turf Moor. And there are Anderlecht fans here tonight to support Vincent Kompany and Burnley. Al-Dakhil. Defemi coming short, looking to be busy. Cullen. Taylor. Zerari. Now Brownhill. And Obafemi with the return ball, which was just a bit too heavy.
Yeah, be disappointed with that. There's an opportunity there. A run from deep into midfield in behind. Kompany and Craig Bellamy don't look particularly phased at this stage. There'll be a lot of trust with their team in terms of how good they've been this season. They'll trust them to get the job done.
Now Foster. Twine just slipped as he hit it. Enciala was in the way. And there was a nasty moment there for Robertson as he couldn't quite get his feet in order, but Burnley now have it back with Vitinho. There's room for Taylor and Zerari once again down the left-hand side. And the early cross, guided clear by Earl, and then appeals for a free kick on the edge of the penalty area, but the shot from Vitinho in the end is lofted too high.
That's good refereeing. Just allows that play to develop. The free is there if he needs to call it back, but there's an opportunity to work the strike on goal, which they managed to do on a poorly headed clearance. I'm surprised that he doesn't work the goalkeeper.
Vitinho does have 3 goals so far this season, and the goals have been shared around this Burnley team. Nathan Teller, who is on the bench, has 14, including 2 against Ipswich in the replay here in the previous round. But so many players have chipped in
68 goals already in the lead for Burnley, and you're thinking about them getting promoted. I don't think we're jumping the gun, such as the lead that they have, but that was the problem that Burnley had for a couple of seasons just before the relegation, is the inability to score goals at that level. Listen, there's a big jump in terms of being able to score in the Championship and then doing it in the Premier League, but you feel they do have some flair in this team.
And they've got the luxury of time now to sign players, look at them and then see if they'll be good enough.
That's a massive bonus, it really is, to be able to get your business done now.
Now Vitinho. Andrew just caught on his heels for a second, but the back heel from Vitinho didn't find a claret and blue shirt, but does help to earn a free kick, and it's a yellow card for Danny Andrew.
A brilliant bit of skill, and Andrew's in a good position, shouldn't have to move out of the way. The only problem is, and what he gets himself put into the book, is that he holds on a little bit too long.
First yellow card of the evening.
You think how combative Andrew is in terms of loving a challenge. It's not great to go into the book so early.
Brownhill is over the free kick as we approach the midpoint of the first half here.
You see Brownhill there, suggests there's a little cut back, a movement from deep.
Obafemi waits at the near post. Wasn't too far away from him. Zarari's shot. McAdam was in the way. Now Peacock Farrell. Cullen. Once again, Fleetwood are happy to retain their defensive shape and offer Burnley the challenge of breaking them down.
Be careful, Burnley, trying to get numbers forward, but they've become flat up front. That's the easiest way of marking. If they drop a little deeper, stagger and pick up pockets in between the defensive unit and the midfield unit, you'd expect them to get a bit of joy.
Burnley eliminated in their previous 6 fifth-round ties. They've not reached the quarter-finals for 20 years. But red-hot favourites to win this game tonight. Cullen and Taylor. But he's not scored since 2015, so that would have been some story.
And yet he's got real quality in that left foot. Certainly in this expansive style of play that Burnley have now. He's coming into that fashionable position from full-back, inverted into midfield. And his eyes light up, just doesn't find the target.
And Ciala. The clearance is a poor one. And so too is the cross.
That's happened on a couple of occasions now, where the forward men, Burnley, are not gambling on those crosses, getting across their defenders.
And there are forward players here, Foster and Obafemi, who have never played together as a pairing, so it may take time to get some sort of know-how. Warrington.
Confident play by Fleetwood from the goalkeeper, bearing in mind that Burnley are setting the traps. Those passes into midfield have to be spot on, and they were on that occasion.
Coutinho. Al-Dakhil. Once again, Robertson just shuffles across to try and prevent Taylor from moving forward. Al-Dakhil again. Coutinho. Burnley's possession continues to hover around the 80% mark.
But there's been no passes as such that have looked to really open up Fleetwood. You're just looking at that setup, those Burnley shirts getting too advanced. It's relatively comfortable, bearing in mind the quality of play you're playing against.
Al-Dakhil. Now Obafemi coming short. Cullen. Zerari was coming in field. He seemed to leave something on the Fleetwood player there, who's not too happy with the challenge, but play continues. Brownhill. Now Vitinho. And again it's rather narrow, but Vitinho does deliver the cross in, which is blocked by Earl, and Burnley have a corner, the first of the game.
He's impressive when he does get into those forward positions. I know Vitinho's best part of his game is in advance, but look how quickly he goes through the gears on that first touch, gets his head up, looking to link. He's got options. They just smother it in the end, Fleetwood.
Corners work short to Zerari. And the flick was off Warrington. He's now underneath the clearance as well. Al-Dakil. Brownhill. Zerari set for the cross. Cleared as far as Taylor. Now Fleetwood will try and break, but it's quickly broken up. Cullen. Now Brownhill. Obafemi. So many sky blue shirts ahead of Burnley whenever they look up in this sort of position. Foster. Twine. Taylor goes for goal, and it's a good save this time by Jay Lynch.
Taylor in that inside position again. Fleetwood have had to drop deep in numbers, so he's getting space in around the box. It's an awkward one for a goalkeeper because it's dropping right in front of him, but he does enough to smother it before Foster gets on that rebound.
Charlie Taylor's not scored since September 2015 when he was playing for Leeds, but he's had a couple of decent efforts here. Burnley with all of the attempts on goal so far, but only 2 of the 9 on target.
I certainly have expected Taylor's chances to get on the score sheet vastly superior now in this Burnley team than the one under Sean Dyche that was very disciplined. He'd have to stay back, keep that defensive structure. But you can see his position now. He's coming into midfield.
Obafemi. Well, now Foster has lost out, and then he just catches Vela. And Fleetwood have the free kick. There's a challenge on the Fleetwood captain.
He's a little loose when that ball's played up to him, Foster. That will be the frustration certainly for his teammates and his coaching staff, is that it doesn't stick. If he can just hold that ball in, he's got options coming from that second line of attack. He's got that width that Burnley have as well. But if he keeps losing it, they can't get any foothold.
Andrew, interesting cross into the penalty area, and in the end it's cleared by Bayer. And the hoof from Vitinho. Fleetwood with their first real break into the Burnley penalty area. And Ciala. Holgate's ball forward is blocked.
Scott Brown must be delighted as we approach the half-hour mark. He kept referencing in the build-up just how strong Burnley are and how quick they start games, but he must be very proud of his players so far.
McAdam. It's given away to Twine. Brownhill. His first thought is always to go to the right, it seems, and Vitinho. Now Taylor. Once again, Fleetwood just happy to retreat. There are 3 players behind Kean Hayes, but often he looks rather isolated when the ball goes anywhere near the halfway line. But that's the nature of the game at the moment for the League One side, who have won 4 of their last 5 games after 6 defeats in 7. Bayer. Now Taylor.
There's a good discipline about that back 5. As soon as that ball goes back even 5-6 yards, they'll squeeze up 2 or 3, so they're always looking to condense the area. The frustration for Burnley is that none of those centre forwards at present are looking to run in behind and make their defence drop.
Cullen. Now Vitinho. Plenty of air behind that. Zerari. That's a really good save by Lynch.
Lynch is saying he hasn't seen it or he's seen it late. It's a lovely take, and the confidence to take the strike. It's dipping inside that near post. You can't quite see it with the bodies. It's a good save in the end.
Jay Lynch is suddenly finding himself busy. Corner again. Beats everybody.
Burnley should have people attacking that 6-yard box. Lynch is reluctant to come for it. He hasn't got men in around him.
Oh, Fleetwood again. Just labouring as they try to play the ball out. Rooney just happy to knock the ball out and give his team a chance to regroup. Fleetwood at this stage of the FA Cup for the first time. It's the first time they've ever gone beyond the third round. Although they have won 7 of their previous 10 away ties, they've not won away to a high division club since they arrived in the Football League back in 2012. They were promoted thanks to the goals of Jamie Vardy. And he scored the last time they won an FA Cup tie away from home against high division opposition when they beat Yeovil in 2011. 2-0 at Hewish Park. The giant-killing boot was on the other foot then, and Jamie Vardy scored the second. Bayer. Now Brownhill. Obafemi. And it's worked wide towards Vitinho, and the cross was too close to Lynch.
It's Brownhill getting in advanced areas now, linking with Obafemi. Vitinho keeping that width, but because he narrows up here when the ball goes out, it's a difficult cross, bearing in mind the numbers that Fleetwood have back in good positions.
Fleetwood have to overcome non-league opposition earlier on in the competition. Oxford City and Ebbsfleet both beaten in the opening 2 rounds before that notable success against Queen's Park Rangers. And then they overcame a much bigger club, currently in the 3rd tier, Sheffield Wednesday, following a replay. Carlos Gomez scored the only goal. He is on the bench here this evening. Also scored the winner in the 1-0 success in the local derby against Morecambe in League One at the weekend. And I'm sure we will see him at some stage. Taylor. Now Twine. Fleetwood are rather short-handed in their striking department at the moment. Both Jayden Stockley and Jack Marriott are cup-tied for this game. I'm sure at least one of them would have started. Taylor. Every time Burnley receive the ball in this sort of area, Fleetwood are quickly to them. That's Robertson's challenge on Obafemi there.
That's where the difficulty comes in terms of how hard they're working to keep that good defensive shape. And when they do get an opportunity to pass forward, they have to somehow complete it. It's easier said than done. But in terms of how difficult they have been to play through, and I think Burnley's coaching staff will be a little bit frustrated with how their team has gone about it. The fact that that front line is so flat and going up against the back 5, there's little or no depth other than when Obafemi drops into 10, but it's not hurting Fleetwood.
Zerari. 4 in the middle. Well, Zerari runs it behind for a goal kick.
And he beats the fullback. I think there's a little bit of a tug there as the defender recovers. Zerari stays on his feet, looks to drive again, but effectively runs the ball out of play. He's looking for that free there. Or even a corner.
Whitestone, the referee, would have found it difficult to make a judgment from there. Alan Pace on the right there, the American owner of Burnley. Had a difficult start when they were relegated from the Premier League, but the recovery has been spectacular so far. 12 wins and 2 draws since their last defeat in the Championship against Sheffield United on the 5th of November, and that included a run of 10 successive victories. They'll be interested to see that their big local rivals, Blackburn, are already in the quarter-final draw following their success at Leicester on Tuesday evening. Although they are due to play Blackburn at Ewood Park anyway in the Championship on quarter-final weekend. Al-Dakhil. Fleetwood here doing a really good job of just soaking up that pressure.
They really are, and we keep saying, or I certainly keep saying, just how good Burnley have been in the Championship. Very few clubs have been able to lay a glove on them. Such is the projected points tally that you think with 12 games to go they're going to get in excess of 100 points. So they've been brilliant, Fleetwood, they really have. Whether or not they can continue this remains to be seen.
Warrington. He's invited to chase, and he's got there before Al-Dakhil, and that's a free kick. And Al-Dakhil was caught on the wrong side there. And Keane Hayes has barely had a pass so far, but he did well there.
Oh, he's putting such a shift, Hayes, in terms of how hard he's worked, and he's recognised that the centre-half lets the ball bounce, and in doing so he can just get his body between Al-Dakhil and the ball and draw that foul.
The set piece, a real opportunity here for Fleetwood. Scott Robertson is over it. And can Fleetwood produce a real sting in the tail at the end of the first half here, which has been dominated by Burnley?
Burnley have a high defensive line, no surprise when you think about Vincent Kompany marshalling that City defence, how high they would be in these situations. So it's all about the delivery. There's a lot of space just to leave it in there, and it's about those boys working hard enough to get through that Burnley wall and stay on side doing so.
Robertson has had a long time to think about this. Now there's the delivery, doesn't get beyond the near post, and from Fleetwood's point of view that's a disappointment, but they keep the ball alive. Andrew towards Rooney. Here is Foster with the opportunity to bring the ball clear, but Warrington does well.
That's brilliantly there, Warrington. Looks like Foster's going to go through the gears. Just runs a shorter distance, that touchline, takes the ball off him.
Earl, now Enciala. Warrington again. On loan from Everton. There's always somebody who will try and be careful in possession. Count him losing out to Al-Dakhil, and then Robertson is penalised going through the back of Cullen.
Even when a young player leaves an established Premier League club to go on loan like Warrington from Everton, he obviously needs to get minutes and first-team football and learn about the pressures of it. But when the opportunity comes to play against such a good team like Burnley, it's an opportunity to show him, listen, I am comfortable at this level.
Burnley have completed nearly 7 times as many passes as Fleetwood so far, but they've only forced Jay Lynch into a couple of saves. Now Robertson, on again, he's given the ball away cheaply. Here is Twine, Enciala with a brave block. Obafemi, Coutinho, now Cullen, Taylor, Zerari, and this time Rooney was in the way. Al-Dakhil, Brownhill. Very important for Fleetwood now to get to half-time on level terms. Ferrari again, was behind Obafemi and guarded back by Andrew.
In terms of individual brilliance over Fermi Foster, you can see they have that ability, but in terms of working in tandem as a pair and the midfielders understanding where their movements are and making those passes, that fluidity has just not been there.
Burnley being very used to playing with a lone striker at times, and they both look as though they would possibly be more comfortable in that role. They do have a 3, I suppose, with Obafemi trying to pull to the right, but he's maybe more effective as a central striker.
Well, most of his work has been centrally anyway, and you're probably looking at the bench and type of Ashley Barnes. It was noticeable, Neil Warnock said at the weekend in his Huddersfield team's 4-0 drubbing, that Ashley Barnes was like Pele. Not quite sure he's ever been compared to that great man before.
I'm sure that maybe says more about Huddersfield's performance.
And probably highlights just how good Fleetwood's has been in this first half. Because it's not been a case of last-ditch tackles, brilliant goalkeeping saves, really under the cosh. It's measured. The distances between the units have been brilliantly. And you can just see that this is a well-coached team. And we talked about the fact they've come here with 4 consecutive clean sheets. But I have to be honest, even with that, I felt they're going to be up against it, against this Burnley team, but they have proved me wrong. They've been excellent.
And you can hear the urgency from the home crowd as we head towards half-time. Earl. Hooked on towards McAdam. That's handball.
It's got to be a booking, isn't it?
Jordan Bayer maybe seemed to lose his bearings there.
Well, he'll argue he's bumped under the ball, but he's put his hand out. I can assure you he knows exactly what he's doing here.
Well, there's no question he knew what he was doing. Maybe thought he was being fouled by McAdam, but
I think the concern he had is that he's gone ahead of the ball and it was going to go back inside him, and McAdam would have been in on goal. That's why he's handled it.
Vincent Kompany is talking to Matt Donoghue, the 4th official. But it's a free kick.
I felt they wasted that last free kick just a couple of minutes earlier on their left-hand side. A second opportunity for those defenders to come up now and challenge for this ball. They have to make sure that they're set behind this free kick so they don't get countered by the pace of Burnley.
Tim Whitestone is continuing the conversation with the German defender. Robertson is over the free kick. And he'll be able to swing this ball in with the left foot. Rooney makes his move too soon, and Robertson just delaying. Now he delivers, headed away by Al Dakhil, and the flag's up for offside after all of that.
Well, they do hold a good line. Initially, that first run in behind, they weren't fazed by it, Burnley's defensive unit, but then after that they panicked a little bit and they were dropping at 6s and 7s. But he has gone a touch too early.
It's the first offside decision we've had in the game, which maybe tells you something about how deep Fleetwood have been defending. We are into a single added minute at the end of the first half here. Now Cullen. Al Dakhil. Brownhill. He's been won back. Hayes briefly had it before it was won back by Cullen. Andrew. McAdam looking for Rooney, and he'll find him. Hayes. Rooney makes the run off him. Hayes is able to turn. He tried to play it forward to Robertson, and the boot was raised there. And there'll be a card of some colour here for Cian Hayes.
Well, Hayes is looking at the ball as it's dropping. He's not aware that the Burnley players coming back in, so it does look particularly bad, but it was not. That's not a red card.
He's been sent off, and Fleetwood are down to 10 players on the stroke of half-time. And the complexion of this tie may have been changed. Kean Hayes dismissed for a high boot. He looks absolutely distraught. But Fleetwood, who have played so well to contain Burnley, will now have to continue after half-time with only 10 men.
Now the replay probably a little worse than the initial incident. The ball loops up, you think he's looking at it, but the referee's in a good position to assess it. You're probably thinking about Hayes, don't even challenge for the ball, you're never going to get there. And for that, look at the referee stood, he can see perfect view of it.
Well, Hayes has a very long walk here. The tunnel is behind the goal in the stand which houses those Fleetwood supporters. And Scott Brown is maybe just having a look at the monitor. And he now has a very big 15 minutes coming up.
Such a disappointing end to what's been a brilliant first half. It's been frustrating for Hayes. Hasn't shirked how hard he's worked. He's put so much pressure trying to close down and then give that outlet, but that's a big decision.
Well, Dean Whitestone, a central character on the stroke of half-time, sending off Fleetwood's Kean Hayes. And Scott Brown's team have done such a good job in containing Burnley throughout the opening 45 minutes. Plenty of pressure, but very few chances. But now Fleetwood must continue. A player short in the second half. Half-time, Burnley 0, Fleetwood 0. Fleetwood down in the Emirates FA Cup 5th round, and Fleetwood were out first for the second period. Now down to 10 players after the straight red card for Kean Hayes on the stroke of half-time. And Burnley, who have not lost in 20 home games so far this season, will now believe they can make their quality show in the second half. Gary Breen is alongside me. We've watched once again the red card. What's your verdict?
I'm still undecided. I can understand why the referee's given it in terms he'll argue that he's out of control, but I think he's pulling out Kean Hayes at the last moment, and it's a massive moment for Fleetwood in terms of how good they were in that first half. I think Vincent Kompany will be saying to his forward players, OK, you've got the second half to get the job done, because I don't think he'll be particularly impressed with them, because they found it very difficult to find any breakthrough.
Kean Hayes was Fleetwood's most advanced player, so in terms of their defensive work, it may not make a huge amount of difference.
No, I don't think the shape will change much, but they won't have an out ball, and that will be the problem with 10 men, that they'll have to put such a shift in that they won't get any release from that pressure.
It's Fleetwood who get the second half underway, playing from left to right, now down to 10 men. And the red card for Kean Hayes has really changed the complexion of this game, but Vincent Kompany will be looking for a good deal more from his team. He does have a strong bench, a number of first-team players, Johan Berg Gudmundsson, Ashley Barnes and Connor Roberts could come on. Nathan Teller, the top scorer, is also available to him. There are a number of youngsters from the youth team on the Fleetwood bench, so big night for them, whatever happens. Al-Dakil, Brownhill. Raised that 1-2 with Cullen, which you've seen on so many occasions. Obafemi also involved. Foster. Challenged though by Rooney. goes forward now for Fleetwood. Harvey McAdam is the only player who is anywhere near the ball. Here is Obafemi. Foster, the flick doesn't quite come off. Rooney is able to clear. McAdam will chase. Al-Dakil just had a look and plays it back to Peacock Farrell.
Both centre forwards, Foster, Obafemi, so untidy in possession. And you can see the width. Coutinho on that right side is just going to hug that touchline, so it's Arari on the left hand side. They'll probe centrally then.
Now Brownhill. Cullen. And Coutinho once again. They're continuing to work their triangles. Taylor has come over from the left hand side. Cullen again. Brownhill. Obafemi is ahead of him, but again, Fleetwood are able to break things up. Here is McAdam. Looks downfield and there's no one there.
That's where your centre forward should be, to be competing with that ball, so the play comes back on top of you again.
Now Bayer. Coutinho. Andrew on a yellow card, needs to be careful. Obafemi. Taylor. Coutinho again. Now he delivers the cross, but straight into the arms of Jay Lynch.
Good defended by Holgate. Ball comes in, he just bumps. Foster under the ball. It's a comfortable catch in for his goalkeeper. They're looking to play out in that first half, but second half now, in terms of getting a bit of a rest for the teams, they need to go long and direct, try and get their defenders up and around that halfway line.
Al-Dakil. Here is Coutinho. Well, Foster was very deep at times during the first half for Burnley, but he's up alongside Obafemi. It's possible he's coming back hunting for the ball, but Burnley, as a result of that, didn't really have an authentic centre forward. Here is Zarari. Musiala on the end of the cross. Cullen. Dakil. Musiala initially intercepting, then winning the ball back. Rooney. Once again, McAdam has a thankless task up against two central defenders without the ball.
I feel it's going to be an attack versus defence session now for Fleetwood. Just how long they can last.
Taylor. Demanding the ball on the left, but he eventually receives it from Cullen. Again, the cross is cleared. Taylor again, deeper this time. There's nobody on the end of it apart from Jay Lynch.
It's noticeable how early Burnley in this second half are crossing the ball. And if you're thinking you've got that extra man, you're probably looking to move it around the pitch, switches of play. In a back three, or a back five as I should say, down a man, that's the one type of cross or attack you want to defend.
We saw Ashley Barnes there on the bench. He is somebody who would attack the ball. The free kick's been given for the challenge by Josh Vela. First a red card in the previous round at the racecourse ground when Wrexham drew 3-3 with Sheffield United. He's done so again here. Obafemi cleared away by Robertson. Cullen towards Al-Dakil. The central defender is forward, but as they have no one to mark, why not? And he's won the corner of Musiala.
That back five is so narrow. The wing backs of Fleetwood just staying tight to their centre half to make sure there's no channels in which Obafemi and Foster can spin down the sides of them. But in doing so, they've got so much space out wide, yet Burnley are still probing centrally.
On the corner, Zarari, Twine, appeals for handball against Robertson, but he gets the free kick. Fleetwood now just be checking off the milestones, and they've already got through 6 minutes in the second half.
Good play by Robertson. Little or nowhere to go. It's been closed down. Just gets his body there to draw the foul. And I think they're going to have to be clever like that, Fleetwood, just to try and give themselves opportunities to take a breather.
Of course, if we are level at the end of 90 minutes, there's no replay. It is extra time, and maybe penalties, so it could be a very long night. But Scott Brown, of course, does have his bench to go to. Coutinho under pressure here. Al-Dakhil to Peacock. Farrell there. Al-Dakhil again. He's clearly been given licence to get forward. Zerari. Again, the low ball in. It's a disappointment. It's quickly cut out. Holgate can bring it clear. Closed down by Taylor, though. Rooney allows the ball to bounce, and then it's the big boot.
Scotland must be thinking about using his bench just to keep the energy levels high. So far, these lads have put such a shift.
Cross in again, looking for Obafemi. He's able to clear. McAdam. Here is Taylor. Foster makes the break into the area, but Lynch was always favourite to win that.
That's brilliant goalkeeping. He reads the ball in behind so early and commits to it. At first you're worrying whether or not Foster's just going to get a toe into it to draw the foul for the penalty. But he smothers it clean. That's excellent goalkeeping. He might have took a knock on that right knee as a result.
Joe Lynch with 2 fine saves in the first half. Card has been shown to Sean Rooney.
He's had a couple of goes at Taylor, just crashed into him minutes earlier. Just be careful, don't allow his frustration to get the better of him. There's a little bit of a wrestle there initially on the ball. Just kicks into the back of Taylor.
2 yellow cards and a red for Fleetwood so far in this game. Twine. There is Bayer. Zerari. It's very deep again, and it was defended well by Andrew because Coutinho was coming in and he knew he was somewhere in the vicinity.
That's brilliant defending. Narrows up initially because Obafemi's just pulling off the centre-half shoulder, has to be in and around him, and then just recognises he might be caught underneath the flight of the ball. The threat's coming in behind him, but he works his feet brilliantly to head clear.
All the corners so far gone to the Clarets. This one's aimed towards Coutinho. He's able to bring the ball down. The shot quickly smothered by Enciala. Coutinho's cross and good improvisation from Earl. Brownhill. As far as Al-Dakhil, and then this kick just gives it back to Twine. Obafemi. Challenged by Andrew, but Obafemi will keep the ball in play. Cullen. Taylor. Now Twine. Now Zerari. He could open up for the curler, but he goes for the near post and it's wide.
He shapes brilliantly. Just touches it out to his right foot. Looks like he's trying to bend it into that far corner. They worked it brilliantly, Burnley, in terms of narrowing up Fleetwood's defence to create space for Zahari out wide. Just looks to give the goalkeeper the eyes and close his foot at the last moment. I think Lynch would have had it covered, but it's a good strike.
Zerari scored twice against Bournemouth in the third round when Burnley went away to Premier League opposition, won by 4 goals to 2, and they found it harder going against Ipswich from League One in round 4, a 0-0 draw followed by a very late 2-1 win. And Fleetwood here were just looking to manage the clock. In their situation, I suppose, they will take every single second they can.
Scott Brown was talking about how they took a little bit of encouragement from the fact that Ipswich out of their league held this Burnley team, but that was at home, that was at Portman Road. And for Fleetwood to be approaching the hour mark, still 0-0, a man down, they've been absolutely brilliant.
Peacock Farrell has been a spectator for most of the game, but he's involved now. Coutinho. Brownhill coming short. Taylor. Zerari again. So good off either foot. Cullen looking for Twine. Brownhill. McAdam steps in. Warrington. And Twine. Zerari, the first time ball in, but Enciala was on the end of it.
Why is the centre forward not attacking that? As soon as they make it wide, Burnley, Zerari's getting a free cross into the box. One of the centre forwards has to go across the near post.
One or two Fleetwood players beginning to look a bit weary here. Zerari, but not Rooney on this occasion, and Vela brings it away. Warrington.
Brilliant play.
Now McAdam. It's launched long, but I think Robertson knew he may have been offside, so didn't bother.
On the two occasions that Fleetwood have forced the turnover and broke and tried to get numbers forward, as soon as Burnley forced the turnover and they're not in a good defensive structure, Burnley look like they're going to create the goal. But when they're set in good positions like now, Burnley are finding it so difficult to break them down.
Brownhill, over Femi, Foster! And Lynch did just enough, and it's cleared in the end by Holgate.
Lack of communication between the centre-half and his goalkeeper. They look like they were relatively comfortable as the ball looped up, and somehow the toe poke beats both of them. Unfortunately, it's cleared off the line.
Taylor. Now Zerari. And again, it's blocked. Rooney has played him quite well so far. Taylor again. And towards Foster. Cullen looking to pick his way through, and he was caught. And it will be a free kick. Robertson with the challenge right on the edge of the penalty area.
If Cullen on this occasion is, but Brownhill and Twine also attack from central midfield and put a bit of energy into this Burnley attack. You will see these lunging challenges. Fatigue more than anything else. Twine's got such good technique in these types of situations.
Scott Twine only has one goal and one league start for Burnley since moving from MK Dons. He's had injury problems which have rather curtailed his progress, but he can send this team a long way towards the quarter-finals here.
All the big centre-halves are in that wall, trying to make themselves as big as possible. The fact it's on the edge of the box is whether or not Twine can get it up and down in that shorter space.
Taylor just breaking off the end of the wall to maybe try and cope with anything hit through that crowd of Burnley players. There is a gap there as well. It will be Twine who hits it, and the wall stands firm. Now Peacock Farrell. Twine again. Zerari. Femi. Brownhill, Coutinho, it's in low. Warrington makes the challenge, and that should be a goal kick, and it is.
That is truly brilliant midfield play. He recognises that his fullback's in a bit of danger. 1v1. If that cross comes in and it's cut back to that penalty spot, his defenders will be in and around the 6-yard box. He has to make sure he's there, and he is to clear the danger.
Vincent Kompany has seen enough here. Connor Roberts is coming on for Jordan Bayer. Michael Obafemi is also making way. Just words for Josh Cullen at this stage. Nathan Teller, very popular introduction, and Josh Brownhill is also replaced by Johan Berg Gudmundsson. Change of shape here, because at the moment it looks like Roberts is playing on the left and Taylor's gone in as a central defender. Roberts, best known as a right back, but he does have that versatility, and crucially for Burnley, he also has pace in the wide area.
With Teller more naturally will look to hug that right side more than Obafemi was central. And you're probably now looking at Foster maybe dropping into that 10 area just to create that space for Teller to run in behind.
There will be a double change for Fleetwood coming up very soon as well. Here is Warrington. Now Andrew. Robertson. Bella's done well there in a confined space. Gudmundsson. Coutinho eventually win it back. Here is Cullen. Now Twine. And there is plenty of space for Zerari on the left-hand side. Taylor on the overlap, but Zerari goes for goal, and it did seem that Foster maybe took the sting out of that. Fleetwood in turn, so trying to break down that left-hand side. They've got 5 players out of the game on the switch of play. They've got an overload out here. And as Fleetwood are trying to recover defensive positions, they're probably hoping that Zerari does take a strike from distance. Johan Berg Gudmundsson, well into his 30s. He's been a regular fixture of Burnley's Premier League campaigns under Sean Dyche. Still has a role to play under Vincent Kompany. Will there be into this Fleetwood resistance soon? Vincent Kompany will be hoping so, but at the moment it has been more of the same from his team, and if anything, they've maybe lacked a bit more attacking edge so far in the second half, as the crossing is met by Earl. Now Zerari. There will be a throw-in to the Clarets. Another Lancashire game coming up for them at the weekend when they make the short trip to Blackpool. They need to take care of Fleetwood first. They're now making changes. First player to make way is Scott Robertson. Daniel Batty comes on to replace him, the former Hull City player. Hasn't played since the third round. Mendes Gomez will be coming on. Scored the winner in the previous round against Sheffield Wednesday and against Morecambe in League One at the weekend, the leading goal scorer. But he's been saved until now, and he comes on to replace Harvey McAdam.
These Fleetwood players have put a real shift in, but McAdam in an advanced attacking role, but also recognising to get deep and picking up his midfield. He's put a proper shift in.
Taylor. Gets it back. Roberts in support. Zerari. And he goes for the curler again with the right foot this time, but it's comfortable for Fleetwood. They'll be happy to see that, and you could clearly see that from the way Sean Rooney reacted.
He's telling his players to concentrate. Sometimes the decision making, you're thinking, you've got the man extra, you're looking to get width, you're creating it out wide, you've got overloads and underlapping runs from behind, so you can really get in behind Fleetwood, but they're still opting to shoot from distance.
We're at the midpoint of the second half. Now Carlos Gomez looking to chase, got there ahead of Taylor, and gives the ball away to him. Here is Twine. Burnley have the extra player, but on the balance of play you wouldn't know it. Now Coutinho. They dominated the ball against 11 in the first half, and it's been a similar story against 10, but Fleetwood at times have looked as though they're playing on vapours, but they're still alive in this FA Cup tie. Taylor. Zerari. Roberts.
What a block.
Taylor was the player coming in. It was an excellent piece of defending from Earl.
The left hand of a back three there. He narrows up centre of the goal brilliantly. That's a goal-saving tackle.
Corner kick for Burnley once again, as we tick towards the final 20 minutes of normal time. Short to Goodmanson. The cross is cleared off the line. Did it cross the line? Taylor's claiming it. And Dean Whitestone, the referee, says no goal.
Well, it looked like it does cross the line, but we know as soon as that happens, you just look at the referee and what his reaction is to his watch. And he's adamant it hasn't crossed the line. He's pointing to his watch saying it hasn't.
Well, it was cleared off the line, right on the line in the end by Harrison Holgate. Lynch did well to get something on it initially. And Charlie Taylor's 8-year wait for a goal goes on.
Well, Earl has made a goal-saving challenge to give the corner away, and Holgate has just saved the goal on the line as well. So the two centre-halves are going above and beyond in terms of keeping their team in this.
Gomez. Well, there's a pullback there on Holgate. There's also a Burnley player down, and then Twine does foul him. And it will be a free kick for Fleetwood. Zerari is the player who was caught earlier on in the move. He was clipped by Mendes Gomez.
He's telling the physio it's an impact injury. He's holding his, he's saying it's his right ankle. Taking any chances, would you, in terms of the remainder of this season?
Well, it's become a very onerous evening here for Vincent Kompany and those in the Burnley technical area. They've had the chances, they've had the possession, they've dominated it, but at the moment they can't break Fleetwood down. Harrison Holgate with the clearance off the line.
Brilliant play. The ball comes in, you're worrying that there's a good connection on the header. Goalkeeper takes the sting out of it, but it's going in. He's relieved to see his centre-half just clearing the danger on the line.
Now Batty is over the free kick. And the stats suggest it's been one-way traffic, and it has. And Serrari is hobbling away for now. Burnley will take any chances. Batty's over the free kick. Again, it's a poor delivery. Here is Andrew. Flag is up for offside. And Sean Rooney.
Looks like when they get into those wide positions for those free kicks, they're being affected by how high Burnley's line is. Trying to hit the perfect ball rather than just leave it in the space behind them.
Roberts lying on the left, so he will tend to come in field and use that right foot. Taylor. Coutinho. Cullen. Going to wriggle away from the challenge of Mendes Gomez, and he does for a second, then he goes down. And he will be cleared away eventually by Andrew. And it's a throw-in for Burnley. And extra time is looming here. It's Darko Chilunov who is coming on to replace Ana Serrari. The North Macedonian international, whose previous 3 appearances have all been in the FA Cup. Now Coutinho. It's blocked well by Andrew. Earl will have to dig this one out, but he's won the goal kick in the end.
Just when you think that Burnley have created something, got in behind, looking like they're going to get their head up to make the cross. Just blue shirts everywhere in terms of closing it down, which defies logic, bearing in mind they're down to 10 men.
Serrari is still hobbling around the pitch. Scott Brown seeing his team go above and beyond here. But it's the FA Cup. Mendes Gomez. Batty. There could be an overload here. Andrew. Now Warrington. Holgate. Siala. And he's offside, Rooney, and that will be a frustration for Fleetwood. Well, 15 minutes away from extra time here. And Fleetwood hold on, and then hold on a bit more. Taylor. Roberts. Chilunov. Take the Serrari roll down the left-hand side. Gudmundsson. Teller. It's put up well by Mendes Gomez, but here is Teller again, and the low cross is deflected behind. It's another corner.
You create 1v1 situations out wide and you're fearing for the wing-backs, and suddenly that recovering midfielder outside makes the hard yards from centre out wide, and they just seem to block it.
Gudmundsson will take the corner kick. In towards Taylor again. And it was Al-Dakil who was challenging. Deeper from Goodmanson this time. Foster with the header. And it's into the side netting in the end. And it was Al-Dakil. Maybe just a lack of conviction there in the header from Lyle Foster, not for the first time when it's come to finish.
When he gets up early, sees the flight of the ball, but doesn't get any connection. I think it actually comes off his shoulder.
On from Lynch. Warrington. Rooney. Cherlanoff is able to wriggle away from the challenge of Rooney. And the referee losing his footing there. Roberts, Goodmanson, Coutinho, Teller, blocked by Earl. Teller again. Teller towards Foster, who's able to spin away from the challenge initially. Now has support from Brownhill. Goodmanson. Taylor. So cross which is easy to clear, but then Goodmanson comes through the crowd and it loops up kindly for Lynch.
They need to do more of that, Burnley, in terms of those midfielders attacking into the box. You just wonder whether or not the fatigue kicking in for Fleetwood mean a lunging tackle in and around the box and a penalty potentially. Because they're probing, they're getting the ball wide, they're creating 2v1 situations, but that final cross, that final delivery has not been of the usual high standard.
Could be a late night for some of the younger Burnley fans because extra time is now becoming a possibility, but here is Rooney. And he's lost out to Taylor. Al-Dakil. Roberts. Coutinho. Teller on the outside. Here is Foster, and Ciala gets a touch, and in the end, Holgate helps him out.
Well, this is what we need to see more of from Foster. The fact that they play a narrow back five, they've drawn the wing back out to create the space, but they've got more defending to do now.
Cherlanoff with the cross, headed away by Andrew, then Rooney. Mendes Gomez, who it squirts into the area for Foster, but he never had the ball under control. And there's a foul on Warrington, and Fleetwood have the free kick as we edge towards the final 10 minutes.
Just looking at the attributes that Foster's got as a centre forward, if he makes those runs in behind, I think he can cause real problems. He's timed it perfectly. He's used his upper body strength to bump the recovering centre-half out of play. Now you're looking for the quality of the finish. The pass was perfect, but the strike's not even on target.
I wonder if he was looking for a teammate. Rooney's flick on. Burnley have the throw-in. Twine. Now Roberts. Cherlanoff on the outside. Short to Foster. Taylor again. Cherlanoff. Behind Teller. There are so many claret and blue shirts waiting for the pass. Almost finds Goodmanson from Foster's layoff, but Fleetwood are able to clear, but here comes Roberts. Foster. Again, the interplay doesn't come off.
It's too scruffy in possession.
Now Teller. Cherlanoff. Roberts. Cherlanoff. Here is Twine, and Ciala with a great challenge. And he's helped out again by Rooney.
Now it does feel like last-ditch challenges. Burnley are making those runs from midfield centre of goal to try and pin those centre halves back, and in doing so, they're hard yards for those front three central midfielders to cover.
Taylor. There's Cherlanov again. Always looking to come inside onto the right foot. It's left by Goodmanson. Al-Dakhil. And he had time to place it, but placed it too high.
His body shape's all wrong. It's a side foot strike. He never looks confident in terms of the over that's leaves the ball to him. So he's trying to side foot into that top right corner. Always rising.
Daniel Dervisoglu is coming on to replace Lyle Foster. Dervisoglu playing his first game since the 13th of November. Turkish international on loan from Brentford. All of his appearances so far have come from the bench, and his one goal was scored in the 100th minute of a championship game here, which Burnley won against Rotherham. They have scored numerous late goals so far this season, whether it's to eke out wins or preserve their long unbeaten run. Michael Obafemi here scored very late against Watford recently. And they need more late heroics here. Coutinho. Teller. It's a good cross in.
What a delivery. It's the type of delivery that centre forwards dream about, and yet there's no one on the end of it.
Into that corridor of uncertainty.
So difficult to defend.
Nathan Teller has been one of the signings of the season on loan from Southampton. Rooney's flick on. Mendes Gomez will chase, but he was heavily outnumbered right from the start. Roberts. Dervisoglu in pursuit, but Lynch has not put a foot or a hand wrong so far. Ball forward again, and Fleetwood now just looking to stretch whenever they can, but it's hard work when the players have worked so hard in such deep areas.
Look how quickly they're getting back into shape though.
Cherlanov. On the outside, it's another corner, this time conceded by Vela.
It's brilliant again. 1v1. The wide man, his eyes light up. He thinks he can really exploit that, and somehow a midfielder gets over to collect him when he beats the first defender.
Burnley's 7th corner. Cherlanov is the short option. It's all the way out to the edge of the penalty area, where it was just miscontrolled by Goodmanson. But it's back towards Cherlanov. And a big boot away from Andrew.
He's been excellent.
Roberts, now Cherlanov. Inside the final 5 minutes. Al-Dakhil. Coutinho. Roberts. Twine. And it's struck by Cullen into the crowd, and it bounces Fleetwood's way, and then a calm back pass from Vela to pick out his goalkeeper there. Here is Taylor. The onslaught continues.
Rooney's got to be careful. He's bumping into players now. He's already on the yellow.
Burnley's possession has been never less than 3/4 throughout the entire game. Twine. Now Goodmanson. Andrew again. Just concedes the corner, and Fleetwood will try and gasp some more air to defend this. Can they hang on for extra time here? Goodmanson's delivery met by Rooney. Goodmanson once again. And it's very deep. And then as far as Twine.
What a block.
And it loops high, and Lynch will claim. And there's been some heroic defending from Fleetwood right from the very start.
There really has. They're clear, and the ball bounced the edge of the box. But look at the reaction just to get out and smother the strike. Now look at Burnley, you're thinking, you've got that extra man. Would you not play the corner short, drag someone out and work a overload on the edge of the box? They're just putting it in on. And when you're down to 10 men, you kind of hope that there's less running to do and you can just deal with it, balls in the air.
Rooney complaining once again that he was nudged in the back. He's been on a yellow card for some time, so he needs to be careful. Whitestone, the referee, will maybe just have a word. No VAR here tonight. Scott Brown may be composing another team talk because his team are very close to extra time. We're going to make another change. And it's Danny Andrew who is coming off. Brendan Wiradu who will come on. He started every previous FA Cup tie. And he's come on here with 90 seconds of normal time to play. Wiradu has gone into the middle alongside Enciala. Has gone into the left wing-back area, but I don't think he'll be doing too much attacking from there. Not at this stage. Here is Dervisoglu! Another really good block from Lynch. Teller. Now Goodmanson. Taylor. It opens up for the strike, and Lynch is there again, but it's still alive. Coutinho!
Oh.
And Burnley have finally found a way. In the 90th minute, Fleetwood's resistance finally crumbles. No emotion from Vincent Kompany, but Jake Lynch has made save after save. But finally, he is beaten. And Burnley are on their way to the quarter-finals.
Now, how cruel for Fleetwood. Two brilliant saves by Lynch. And this one is Trammy gets down, palms it away, but they're keeping it alive such as they got that extra man. And it's Roberts who's in and around it. He can do no more, Lynch, there than palm it to his left-hand side. But it's Teller who's kept it alive, put it back in the danger area, and the extra man has count right at the end.
And he was just onside, Connor Roberts. A flurry of opportunities. And Coutinho's strike deflected in by the Welshman. And Fleetwood have been denied right at the very end. And yet again, it is a late goal from Burnley to decide a match. And they just keep going, and we're into a minimum of 5 added minutes.
So we know in terms of successful teams, they have that ability to go right to the end. But you can see the reaction of the Fleetwood players now. They are absolutely gutted because they put on an incredible show. Full credit to Burnley for forcing it right at the end. But what a defensive rear guard. It's been down to 10 men from Fleetwood.
And it took Burnley 90 minutes to finally find a breakthrough. Here is Teller. It's cleared as far as Twine, and this time Lynch is able to hold on.
Made a difference, there's no doubt. Teller, since he's come on, in terms of that energy in that right wing.
Twine. Dervisoglu's offside.
A big save from Lynch just moments earlier from Dervisoglu on what was just such a clean strike. He makes that save and then he makes another brilliant save, palms it out to his left. In those moments you're hoping that that ball goes away from any danger, but Teller was in and around keeping the ball alive to put it back in the box for Roberts to finish.
And now Fleetwood got anything left at the other end. And Ciala forward. And they will just push on and push on here. They have a long journey to Cheltenham in League One at the weekend, and I'm sure there'll be a few aching limbs heading down to Gloucestershire after this. But they've won a throw-in. And their fans have had a very long-range view of much of the action in the second half, right at the other end of the stadium. And it's delivered long. And it's gone behind, and Fleetwood have their first corner in the 94th minute.
Wow. Does the goalkeeper come up?
Well, it's the FA Cup, so why not? He's staying on his line at the moment. First corner for Fleetwood. Delivery here has got to be right from Batty.
Just commit, just get across your man, gamble, just attack that space.
And Coutinho clears it straight back to Batty. It's a deeper cross in this time, and it was Al Dakhil who got the touch. Fleetwood have a throw-in, and they're finishing the game on the attack here.
Rooney to the right wing now for the long throw.
Now or never for Fleetwood to keep their best ever FA Cup run going. Into the near post. And Burnley now have the opportunity to break. Twine finding Goodmanson. 3 in support, but it's deflected back to Lynch by Warrington. Warrington again.
Oh.
Burnley clear. 1 or 2 challenges coming in now. Goodmanson, Dervisoglu in support, but an excellent recovery challenge from Wiradou.
Brilliant tackle.
Fleetwood's final chance here. Mendes Gomez. And it will be a throw-in, but the referee will come back and show a yellow card. In the direction of Johan Berg Goodmanson. And in the 96th minute, Rooney will take the long throw. Surely the final chance here. Met by Coutinho, and it's all over. Burnley are into the quarter-finals, but Fleetwood made them work extremely hard. But Vincent Kompany's team winning the match in the 90th minute. A close-range flick from Connor Roberts. Fleetwood played so well with 10 men for the whole of the second half, but in the end, as they so often do, Burnley found a way. Full time, Burnley 1, Fleetwood Town 0.